Western Powers and the Shadow War on Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré, a campaign to reclaim control Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. Since seizing power in a dramatic coup in September 2022, Burkina Faso's young and charismatic military leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, has become a lightning rod for both admiration and enmity. At 37, Traoré, Africa's youngest head of state, has positioned himself as a fierce advocate for national sovereignty, channeling the revolutionary spirit of Burkina Faso's iconic Thomas Sankara. His bold moves to sever ties with former colonial power France and pivot toward new alliances, notably with Russia, have sent shockwaves through Western capitals. Yet, this defiance has come at a steep cost. Traoré has survived multiple assassination attempts, which many in Burkina Faso and beyond believe are orchestrated by Western powers desperate to reassert control over the West African nation and its vast mineral wealth. A nation under siege, Burkina Faso, a landlocked country rich in gold, zinc, and other minerals, has been a battleground for geopolitical influence since its independence from France in 1960. For decades, France maintained a tight grip on its former colony through economic dominance, military presence, and political maneuvering. However, Traoré's rise to power marked a seismic shift. Following the 2022 coup, he expelled French troops, suspended French media outlets like France 24, and terminated long-standing security agreements with Paris. His government has accused France of perpetuating neo-colonial exploitation, a sentiment that resonates deeply with Burkina Faso's youth and Pan-Africanist movements across the continent. This break from France has coincided with a series of destabilizing events, including a string of alleged assassination plots targeting Traoré. According to Burkina Faso's military authorities, Traoré has survived numerous attempts on his life since taking power. In April 2025, the junta announced it had foiled a major plot to overthrow Traoré, alleging that the conspirators, including ex-army officers, were based in neighboring Ivory Coast, a country widely perceived as a Western ally in the region. The plot, described as an attempt to sow total chaos by attacking the presidential palace, was reportedly orchestrated with foreign backing. Social media platforms, particularly X, have been ablaze with claims that France, in collaboration with the United States and regional proxies like Ivory Coast, is behind these attempts. Posts circulating in April and May 2025 allege that French elite assassins and massive weapons shipments funneled through Ivory Coast were intended to eliminate Traoré and his inner circle. One widely shared post claimed, France and their allies keep looking for an African puppet they will use to eliminate Traoré so they can loot Burkina Faso's gold, zinc, copper, manganese, phosphate, and limestone. Another post in late April accused Ivory Coast's leadership of assisting France in a coup attempt, citing Burkina Faso's intelligence chief as the source. While these claims remain unverified, they reflect a growing sentiment that Western powers are waging a shadow war to neutralize Traoré's anti-imperialist agenda. The Western agenda, reclaiming a lost foothold Traoré's policies, have directly challenged Western interests in Burkina Faso, particularly France's long-standing influence. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso has moved to nationalize parts of its mining sector, establishing a state-owned mining company and requiring foreign firms to cede a 15% stake in their operations to the government. This includes Russian miner Nordgold, which recently secured a license for investment. But Western companies, such as Australia's Surama Resources, have faced setbacks, with some launching arbitration proceedings after losing exploration licenses. These reforms aim to redirect Burkina Faso's mineral wealth, gold in particular, toward national development, a stark departure from decades of foreign exploitation. France's loss of influence is not just economic. The expulsion of French troops in 2023, which had been stationed in Burkina Faso to combat jihadist insurgencies, marked a humiliating retreat for Paris. Traoré's government has since turned to Russia for security partnerships, a move that has alarmed Western powers already grappling with Moscow's growing influence in the Sahel. The formation of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, with Mali and Niger, both of which have also expelled French forces, has further isolated France and its regional allies, such as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, which Traoré has accused of serving Western interests. Critics of the West argue that Traoré's survival is seen as a direct threat to this neo-colonial order. His fiery rhetoric, invoking Sankara's legacy and calling for a revolution against imperialist domination, has galvanized support among disillusioned youth across Africa. In Nigeria, for instance, actress and politician Hilda Dokubo recently praised Traoré as proof that a country takes the shape of its leadership. contrasting his boldness with the perceived failures of other African leaders. This regional popularity only heightens Western concerns, as Traoré's influence risks inspiring similar anti-Western movements elsewhere. A web of intrigue and violence. The assassination attempts on Traoré are not isolated incidents but part of a broader pattern of instability in Burkina Faso. The country has been plagued by jihadist violence, with groups like Jamaat al-Islam wa al-Muslimin, JNIM, an al-Qaeda affiliate, claiming responsibility for deadly attacks, including one in May 2025 that reportedly killed 200 soldiers in Djibo. Some analysts and social media voices allege that these insurgencies are being exploited, or even supported, by Western powers to weaken Traoré's regime. A post on X from May 2025 claimed that the US and France are sponsoring terrorists to kill both soldiers and civilians, to discredit Traoré through Western media outlets like the BBC. While such claims lack concrete evidence, they fuel the narrative of a Western-orchestrated destabilization campaign. Adding to the intrigue, Traoré's government has pointed fingers at Ivory Coast, a key French ally, as a staging ground for coup plots. In April 2025, Burkina Faso's army alleged that plotters based in Abidjan aimed to overthrow Traoré and place the country under international supervision. Traoré himself has publicly accused Ivory Coast of harboring his opponents, a charge that gained traction after a U.S. official, General Michael Langley, head of U.S. Africa Command, criticized Traoré for misusing Burkina Faso's gold reserves during a Senate hearing in April 2025. The comments sparked outrage in Ouagadougou, with thousands rallying in support of Traoré, waving Burkinabe and Russian flags and denouncing imperialism and its local lackeys. Traoré's defiance and the stakes for Africa Traoré's survival has only amplified his mythos as a revolutionary leader. Often compared to Sankara, who was assassinated in 1987 during a coup widely believed to have been backed by France, Traoré has leaned into this legacy. His government's construction of a mausoleum for Sankara, designed by renowned architect Francis Carré, is a symbolic gesture to keep the flame of the revolution alive, according to Burkina Faso's prime minister. Yet, this defiance comes at a time when Burkina Faso faces mounting challenges. Jihadist attacks have intensified, with 40% of the country under insurgent control, and the economy is strained by ongoing violence and displacement. For many Burkinabe, Traoré represents a last stand against foreign domination. Supporters like Seko Ansamariam Dukali, a Liberian who traveled to Ouagadougou for a pro-Traoré rally in April 2025, see him as hope for Africa, hope for black people, hope for all freedom fighters around the globe. Yet, the relentless attempts on his life underscore the precariousness of his position. Each foiled plot, whether orchestrated by internal dissenters, jihadist groups, or alleged foreign actors, raises the specter of a broader conspiracy to crush Burkina Faso's bid for sovereignty. As Traoré navigates this treacherous landscape, the question looms: is Burkina Faso a testing ground for a new kind of Western intervention, one that uses covert operations and proxies to eliminate leaders who challenge the global order? The accusations against France, the US, and Ivory Coast, amplified by social media and echoed by regional allies, paint a picture of a nation under siege, not just by insurgents but by a calculated effort to reclaim control. For now, Traoré stands firm, but the shadow war against him shows no signs of abating. As Burkina Faso's Captain Ibrahim Traoré continues to defy Western influence, the alleged assassination attempts against him underscore the high stakes of his revolutionary agenda. The narrative of a Western-orchestrated campaign to eliminate Traoré, fueled by France's loss of military and economic control, the rise of Russian partnerships, and Burkina Faso's assertive push for resource sovereignty, resonates deeply with a population weary of neo-colonialism. Each thwarted plot strengthens Traoré's image as a symbol of African resistance, yet it also exposes the fragility of his position in a country battered by jihadist violence and economic strain. The accusations of foreign interference, amplified by voices on X and across the Sahel, reflect a broader struggle over Africa's future. One where leaders like Traoré challenge a global order that has long profited from the continent's wealth. Whether these plots are the work of Western powers, regional proxies, or internal dissenters, they signal a relentless effort to suppress Burkina Faso's bid for self-determination. As Traoré presses forward, his survival will test not only his resilience but also the resolve of a nation and a continent, seeking to break free from the shadows of imperialism.